introduction and we'll get started. So, thank you for being here for yet another session of the GWS Learning Guild. What is the Grow with Satori Learning Guild? It is a community of learning and development professionals by the professionals for the professionals of the professionals. So, what it means is people from within the community volunteer to present on a topic relevant to the L&D folks, and we continue to learn from each other. That is the intent. We've done sessions on how does L&D, how can L&D leverage AI in their day-to-day working. Last time we did a session on how to create assessments that really test whether the learner has achieved what they were supposed to intended to. Yeah, today we have with us Jenny Karunakaran, who's going to be talking to us about a topic that's very close to my heart, which is learning the Indian way. A bit about Jenny before we get started. Jenny and I have known each other for a little over 5 years. Our first engagement was when we were in a course around coaching, and we were in that same cohort doing peer coaching. And I think we took liking from then on. We worked on the same teams also for about a year, year and a half together. Lovely knowing Jenny. The strengths that I've seen in Jenny are the fact that she's a learner, hardcore learner. Any time, at any point in time, you check with her, she's at least, uh, learning one skill, one trait, one something she's at always. Um, and that really intrigues me about Jenny. Currently, she is the learning lead at ANZ India, and doing wonderful things over there. Without much ado, I will invite Jenny to take us into understanding more about learning the Indian way.
Thank you so much, Shanti. Thank you so much for that lovely introduction as well.
Sure.
It's really a pleasure being here, and thanks a lot, GWS Learning Guild, for giving me this opportunity. And it's a privilege to be here with all of you. So, in this ever-changing race of progress, right? One thing is crystal clear. That is, learning is here to stay.
Mm.
It's not just a choice anymore; it's our lifeline, right? So that is how important learning is. I'm sure all of you, you're from the L&D world and you've heard multiple things about the flashy ways of learning and different frameworks. At the same time, we should not forget the power of our ancient wisdom, which is there lying over to be rediscovered. And this is a humble attempt to do that. So let's embrace our past, fuel our future, right? Let me share my screen and please let me know if you're able to see my screen. Hope my
Visible,
screen is
Jenny.
visible. Okay,
Yeah.
sure. Okay, so this is all about learning the Indian way. And before we get started, right, I'm inviting all of you to be present here, not just in this Zoom meeting, but mentally as well. So if you can please allow me, I'm taking you through a little bit of meditative journey. So kindly close your eyes. Thank you. There could be different thoughts wandering in your mind. There could be some worries, something that you need to attend to. There could be some anticipation about something that's going to happen in the future. Visualize that there is a box in front of you, a big wooden box. Now you're slowly opening that box. This box is going to be your container of all the distractions that you're facing now. You're moving all your worries, your distractions, anything that is bothering you to be fully present in this session. All of those are placed in the box now. Now let's close the lid. Please be ensured that you can get into it later. But for now, with that assurance, let's be here completely present. Please open your eyes. Thank you so much. And this is the first step of learning when it comes to learning the Indian way. That is having an openness to learn something, coming from a curiosity standpoint, a learning standpoint, rather than coming to test whether my understanding is right or wrong, having an open mind and be willing to receive. Before we go much into what exactly is learning the Indian way all about, right? Let's understand a little bit about importance of learning. If you can put it in the chat box, what is the purpose of learning? To you, what is the purpose of learning? Or you can unmute and speak as well.
For me, learning
I
is
think it's a
fun and
personal learning.
fulfilling.
Fulfilling. Thanks, Shanti. Shiva?
I think it's more of growing yourself personally, and then um, knowing what you don't know, right? Especially that's the prime focus for me. Yeah, learning.
Excellent. Knowing yourself.
Well, learning also aids in the confidence in a person. So yes, it provides the learning because we get knowledge, and knowledge aids in with confidence to do a particular work. So yeah, that's learning.
Excellent. That's a that's a beautiful concept, right? That confidence competence loop. The more competent you are, automatically you will become more confident. And learning helps us in that process. So there's this author called Neil Donald Walsh, and he has this beautiful saying about not just learning, but the life of the purpose of our life in general, right? What he says is the purpose of life is to recreate yourself anew in the next golden moment of now, in the grandest vision of the greatest version of uh, yourself that you ever wanted to be. So that is the whole purpose of our life, right? Growing and creating a better version of ourselves. And for this, we need to master skills. We need to master skills with respect to relationship, with respect to wealth management, with respect to um, contribution, social contributions, your spiritual connections, and so on. And the key here is mastery. How exactly can we master all these multiple skills? Let's find out. When it comes to Indian way of learning, learning is not the mere acquisition of knowledge. It is beyond that, right? The focus is on holistic development, holistic education, and this is centered in an experiential learning. When we think of learning, right, it's also important to know um, what exactly to learn, right? And is it really important or is it really essential for you at this point in time as well? Because at this particular era where we have a wealth of information available from multiple sources, it is important that we prioritize what is really important for us and then focus on that. To elaborate that, let me play a video. Are you able to see the video? Not playing, but can you see it?
See, yes.
Okay. Can you hear it as well?
No, Jenny. I think you might have to reshare. And when you share, there is something include computer sound. You will have to check that. Then we'll be able to hear. Works.
One day, several men were being ferried across a river. Among them was a Pandit.
I will talk to one of those fellows. Not that it will benefit me in any way, but it will at least help me pass the time. Who are you? Where do you come from? I am a farmer. Good sir, from a village on the other side of the river. I am a scholar. I have made a deep study of the Upanishads. Have you read the Upanishads? No, sir, I haven't. You haven't not. You poor fellow. A quarter of your life has been wasted. Well, you must have read the Shastras then. No, sir, I can't say that I have. Then half of your life is gone. What about the six systems of the philosophy? I am afraid. I have not even heard of them, sir. Not heard of them, then, my friends, 3/4 of your life. Hey. The boat. It's a storm. I can't control the boat. It's going to turn over. Jump overboard and swim to the shore. Good sir. I hope you know how to swim. No, I have never learned swimming in my life. Never learned swimming? Then your whole life is gone, Panditji.
Knowledge derived from books is not enough. One must acquire practical learning too.
So, it's not just about learning something, it's about learning the most important thing, right? So it's very, very important that we understand that difference. And that is the crux of Indian learning system because it's not informative, it is transformative. So now let's move on and find out what are the different stages when it comes to learning the Indian way. These are the 4 stages in learning, and it starts with something called as Shravanam. So the stages are Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasanam, and Sakshatkaram. Shravanam is the acquiring knowledge, the process of acquiring knowledge or acquiring information. And then we move on to the second stage that is called Mananam. That is all about reflection. The third stage, Nididhyasanam, is about internalizing whatever we have learned. it's about doing those little experiments to deepen our own understanding. And the final stage, Sakshatkaram, is all about ensuring that you are ready for the direct experience. That is your real world experience. And then finally, realization of your true potential. Let's explore further into the details of these four different stages. The first one is about Shravanam. Here, we talk about active listening, understanding it. And this could be from various sources. You can learn from teacher, you can go and attend a course and learn from that. We can read books, read articles, listen to podcasts, and listen to some of the YouTube videos as well. So there are multiple sources, and Shravanam is the first stage. It's all about being open to learning and finding out those different sources from which you can acquire information. In this case, a key element is being able to focus and having that learning mindset and being open to learning. There are multiple ways to learn, and it's not just about the external sources, it's also about you learning from your internal sources, that is through self-talk, right? Doing the self-reflection and understanding your own feelings. That is also part of learning. Let's do a quick activity. I invite all of you to please read the sentence and let me know how many F's are you able to find in this particular sentence, the number of F's in this sentence. How many of you are able to see three F's here? And only three. Three F's. Anyone who can see more than three?
I saw five.
Five. Okay. Six. Six. So there are six F's. Six F's. And what is that two-letter word that we might miss?
Off.
And this is a very simple experiment, but this is telling us something big. It's about how effective can we be when we are completely focused on something. This is exactly what happens when we listen to something as well. We will be in our own world and our own understanding, and most of the time we are not listening for understanding, we are listening for responding. We are listening for answering. So there's a concept called Luna, Luna, and it's talk about listen to understand, not to answer. Listen to understand, not to answer. And this is very, very important in the first stage of learning. That is, we being fully focused on there and understand and observe what is present there, what is present in front of us at that point in time, instead of judging something or convoluting it with our past experience. Because if the data coming in is garbage, definitely we will not be able to produce great output with that. So this is the first stage. That is the stage which is known as Shravanam, listening. And the instrument that we use at this point in time is our body and all the five senses. With this, let's move on to the second stage. At this stage, this is all about asking questions, about deepening our understanding and memorizing it. This is the stage in which you reflect on whatever you have collated as an information and you do a contemplation on your own. This is the stage where we create mind map, connect the newly created information with the existing mental map that we already have. And this is the stage where we can do journaling and group discussions and so on to deepen our understanding. When it comes to our school education system, this is where it ends. Shravanam and followed by Mananam, where retention is high. right? So Mananam is the stage where we focus on learning retention, understand it, memorize it, and so on. I'm inviting you to look at this list and see how many words or how many items in this that you can remember. I'll leave it here for 30 seconds. And without taking a screenshot, only relying on your own memory, let's see how many of you remember all the 10 words. Anyone who would like to see if you remember all the 10 words? Okay.
4? Yeah, 5.
Yeah. So tell me what do you remember? Tell me the words that you remember.
Sun, soda, rainbow, scarf, right? And then globe.
Very good. Excellent. Would you be happy if I share a technique with which you will be able to remember all the 10 words? Do you want to learn? Yes.
Yeah.
So this is called Sun List, and this is coined by Jim Quick. So please search for Jim Quick videos, and he has amazing videos and techniques to activate and reactivate your brain. There's an easy technique to remember all these words in the order. So we have only how many suns are there in the universe? There's only one sun. And pair of socks. When you think of traffic lights, what are the colors that you can think of? How many colors?
3.
3, right? So 1 is sun, and then 2, sock, 3, traffic light, car.
4.
Why is it 4?
4 wheels.
The tires. Yes, 4
Yeah.
wheels. And glove,
5 fingers
because
in the
5
5
glove.
fingers.
fingers.
Yeah, soda, because if you see a soda can, right, it has 6 soda in that. A case. So a case has
Oh.
6 soda. Hence it's soda. And 7 rainbow
Colors. 8
colors.
octopus
Octopus.
legs.
Yeah. And
9 lives of the cat.
9, yeah, 9 lives of the
And 10
cat
toes. Oh.
and 10 toes.
But how do you
Now
come up
let's
with
see.
this connection of, I can use numbers to remember this sequence, or maybe there's another method. How do you come up with that connection?
That's a very important question, Shanti. And this is actually from the videos of Jim Quick. So now it's really very important that we do not remember things as absolutes. We remember things in relation to something else. And we all will be able to remember things better when we are able to visualize it. That's why we use mind maps and journaling at this point, at this stage, the Mananam stage of learning. So now, the sun list is something that you can use as anchor. Imagine that you want to remember maybe 5 faces of something, right? You hook it onto the sun list. You say that, okay, the first stage is Shravanam, and you imagine that, okay, sun is coming up with the title called Shravanam. And then the second stage, you imagine, okay, Mananam is coming with the pair of socks. And when you visualize it in this way, right, you will be able to remember it better. So it's not just about remembering this word, but using this as an anchor, because now you have something visual, and it'd be very, very easy for you to remember that. So I used to remember the 7 habits of highly effective people using the sun list. I can still remember the traffic light saying begin with the N. And it is write out, it'd be very, very easy for you to remember. Now let's see how many of you remember sun list. So the first one is
sun.
Second, sock. Okay, third,
Socks.
2 socks. 3 traffic lights.
Traffic light,
4 car,
car,
5 glove,
no,
6 soda, 7 rainbow,
Yes.
8 octopus, 9 cat, 10 toes.
yeah. Oh,
Yay. Excellent.
Lovely.
And this is all about Mananam. That is retaining the information so that we will be able to process it later. With this, we are going to the next stage that is called Nididhyasanam. Nididhyasanam is a very, very important stage, and this is where our life experiences starts. Our school education or the college education ends with Shravanam and Mananam. They don't tell us how to go further with that particular information. This is where our life starts. Nididhyasanam is all about synthesizing that information and putting it into our own context. Doing those little experiments to see whether it is working in my context or not. Most of the times what happens is we don't challenge the informations enough. We think that, okay, someone has said that it is true, so maybe it is true. Because we are not very sure of it, we don't rely on that. Because we think it might be true, we don't even experiment with that. That's a stage that we are in after our school or college education. And that is exactly what we need to change. It's about coming up with those synthesis, antithesis, and sorry, thesis, antithesis, and then coming up with your synthesis. It's about throwing up all those ideas and doing that diverge and converge approach to select one idea from the many. And this is a stage wherein you ask these important questions about how can I apply this particular knowledge in my context? What are some of the things that I need to be mindful about when I'm applying it in my context? What is challenging in my context? And what are the opportunities for me to apply this knowledge in my context? So this is the place where you can engage in activities like role plays. You can do little experiments on your own. You can do some simulations and do problem solving with some case studies, because that will give you an opportunity to understand the problem and various ways to solve a problem. A very, very important part of Nididhyasanam is that this is a stage that you should not do alone. You need a group like this learning guild. You need other people, fellow travelers, where you will be able to discuss, understand different perspectives, understand the real-time challenges of implementing those ideas as well. Let's do an activity to see whether it is working or not. Ready? Okay. So this concept called our psychology and our physiology are interrelated. Do you agree with that? Do you think that there is this connection between our mind and body?
Yes.
Okay. So let's try it out and see if that connection is definitely there or not. I want all of you to, I'm happy all of us are in the camera. And I invite Vaishnavi as well, if it is possible for you to please come on video. I want all of us to smile for 30 seconds. Smile. Nice smile, Vaishnavi. Okay. Now, how do you feel?
After 10-15 seconds, it's tiring.
Okay. How's your happiness level? Is it
Definitely
increased,
higher. In
decreased,
fact, seeing others
higher?
smile, it makes you smile more.
Absolutely. And this is all about the stage called Nididhyasanam. This is where you experiment and see whether it is working for you. You experiment and see what are the challenges when you do that experiment, right? Unless and until you do it, on your own, you will never be able to understand it. Otherwise, we will be like that Pandit who thinks that, okay, I know everything. And then when a real life test comes, we will not be able to apply that knowledge at all because we never practiced it. So Nididhyasanam is the stage where we internalize our knowledge or our whatever information that we have collated, and we do our little experiment, we do our little testing. With this,
I
we
have
are
a
moving
question.
on to the final stage. Yes.
Ma'am, if let's say we are doing some kind of testing for some, let's say, a new theory or something new concept, okay. So isn't that the, like, the fear of failing out if something went not as we have planned? Then definitely there is some kind of fear will also be there.
Yeah, that's a very, very important question. And I think that is why we need this particular stage as well, where you are trying it out in an environment where you're comfortable. For example, you learn something, right? And instead of you directly going and applying it in your prod environment, if you understand that language, right? For all this coding, we have this development and the testing environment, and finally the production environment. So instead of we deploy directly in the prod environment, we have this testing space where we do a unit testing and then the QA. So this is exactly what we need to do. You present it in front of your close group. Could be your peers, it could be a mentor, right? And you try it out over there. And then you do go and do an actual presentation. Most of the time, what we do is that we think we will spend some time in collating that information, but we don't do that rehearsal. We will not practice it enough, thinking that maybe that's a waste of time. I can use that time for something better, right? So this is why we need to create that environment. And it is not possible for us to do that unless and until we are part of such an environment. For example, if someone is really interested in public speaking, right? Toastmasters is a club that is there who helps people in, coming up with or becoming good public speakers. An environment where you can easily fail. They are not going to judge you. It is your promotion is not based on that. They're not going to hire you based on your speech. So that's an environment where you can test and learn. Similar to that, there could be other environments in your context, right? If you're a project manager and you want to do something, it's an environment where you can try, apply, and then see whether it is working or not. It is on us to find out such environments. And then failure is not the end of anything. It's an opportunity for us to learn something and go forward. So trying out something is more important than the outcome of that, because we either succeed or learn. Those are the only two outcomes. So you remove that word failure from your dictionary and replace it with learning. Okay.
Yeah, we also have Webhub and Aso join us. Hi, Webhub. Hi, Aso. Welcome. Uh, Please engage, participate, ask questions as we go along. Yeah, we can continue, Jenny.
Sure. Moving on to the final stage. This is called Sakshatkaram, or the direct experience and the realization of the knowledge. What happens in Sakshatkaram? This is where you actually try it out. You imbibe the knowledge and you directly go and apply it in the world. So in the first case, right, when we did the Sravanam stage, our instruments were our five senses. And during the Mananam and Nidhyasanam stage, the instrument is our mind. But when it comes to the stage of Sakshatkaram, instrument is the world. You're going to apply whatever you've learned is directly into this world. And this is completely different from Nididhyasanam, because in the Nididhyasanam, it's your practice. You're doing some practice, you're doing it in a test environment. And even if you're applying it in a real environment, you are just following those steps, whatever you've learned, and you're applying that. But in Sakshatkaram, you are creating something on your own based on whatever information that you've collated so far. Give an example, right? Let's think of the relationship between mother and honey. So, what are some of the attributes that you can think of when you think of mother?
Sweet,
Mother is
Caring,
sweet, caring,
nurturing,
nurturing. When you touch your mother, if you feel the touch of your mother, how did you feel?
soft,
Soft,
soothing,
soothing. Now
Caring.
let's couldn't hear that.
No, that was caring, I said, Jenny.
Caring, yeah. Now let's superimpose these attributes of mother on honey. Okay, or let's first find out what are the attributes of honey. So when you think of honey, what are some of the attributes that comes to your mind?
sweet, flowy,
Sweet, flowy,
viscous,
viscous. If someone is pouring honey over your head, how will you feel?
Sticky.
Sticky, yeah.
it has healing attributes, of course. Honey,
uh,
You said flowy in my
healing
notes.
attribute.
healing, healing,
Healing, okay, healing.
It's nourishing.
nourishing. Yeah.
Yes. So now let's superimpose attributes of mother on attributes of honey, right? What are some of the commonalities that we can throw?
Sweet,
It's
nurturing,
again, yeah.
So we say both are sweet, maybe both are healing, soothing, right? And this is called biomimicry. That is, whenever you have some problem in hand, let walk in the nature or look at something in the nature, and you will be able to find out so many attributes over there. And when you think of those attributes and your problem at hand, right, you will be able to find out some commonalities that you can apply to resolve your problem. And another way is, imagine in the Nididhyasanam stage, you dealt with one case study. You understood how to resolve a particular issue. And now you have a real-time problem at hand. This is your opportunity to draw parallels from that and apply it over here. Is something completely wild as well, right? You will look at a sticky note and you will get an idea of how to solve a project management problem. You will look at the movie and how the person is doing something in the battlefield, and then you will be able to take it to the boardroom as well. This is the power of Sakshatkaram. This is the final stage where you create something anew. It's not about just applying whatever you have learned. It is about going beyond that and creating something on your own based on the knowledge that you have accumulated over the years. This is the stage where we become, we become one with the knowledge. We imbibe that information and we become one with that knowledge. It becomes second nature to you, and anytime you will be able to implement that. This is the stage that we need to be in with respect to any kind of learning that we do. So it starts with Shravanam, passes through Mananam, Nididhyasanam, and finally Sakshakaram, where you're ready to explore the world with the newly acquired skills that you have. And this is all about the Indian way of learning. To give you a bit more about what we talk about it in the Vedas, right? Knowledge has a special place when it comes to the Vedic knowledge. Said that na choraharyam, na cha rajaharyam, na bhatubhajyam, na cha bharakari. Vyankrite vardhadameva nityam, vidyadhanam sarvadhanat pradhanam. The king will not be able to steal your knowledge. No one will be able to steal. I mean, the king will not be able to pack, on your knowledge. Thieves will not be able to steal your knowledge. Knowledge is not getting divided as an ancestral property, and it is not heavy for you to carry around. As in when you spend, it increases. As in when you share knowledge, it actually increases. And knowledge is the supreme power. So I'm inviting all of you to explore, learn more, play this technique, and make sure that you imbibe that information and be one with knowledge so that you are able to apply it in the way that you want to apply. And that way, you're going to make a difference in the society. From informative learning, let's all move into transformative learning through the Indian way of learning. That's it for me. And I'll be happy to answer any questions or anything more that you would like to share as well.
Jenny, as you were going through this, a thought that came to me is that the stages are, I see a lots of similarity between Bloom's taxonomy and our Indian stages of learning, where first it's about information seeking, wherein the learning objectives are list and map and guides. Then Mananam, where you are mapping, remembering is tested and all. Eventually it is doing it, the Nitidhyasanam, where you are practicing what you are learning and being able to. Final one is the creation, create, synthesize, judge, evaluate, that level. So how do you, being an L&D lead, how do you bring this into practice in the workshops, in the trainings that you put together?
Thank you for that question, Shanti. And as you rightly mentioned, right, we have multiple learning frameworks, and when we draw parallels, we will be able to definitely find some similarities with this way of learning. And from my mind, because this is so ancient, I believe that this could be the root of most of the other learning techniques. When it comes to our, implementing this in our workshops, we need to make sure that, or this is something that we have implemented, is ensuring that we are catering to the multiple learning needs of our listeners or of our audience. It's about that wax techniques implementation, right? Visual, audio, kinesthetic. Making sure that they're able to get that information in those ways. And the second part is Mananam, where we do some kind of memory techniques, come up with some acronyms so that at the end of it, they're at least be able to remember that 4 stages or 3 techniques and so on, so that it is easy for people to remember. That's about knowledge retention. The third part is Nitidhyasanam, where we give some little experiments. So in some of our programs, what we do is we have a one-on-one coaching sessions where we people, how exactly are you implementing that? What are the challenges that you're facing in your implementation? There are also some activities where they need to do a project. As part of it, they need to apply it. They need to come up with their own learning. And finally, the Sakshatkaram stage is where we were able to implement it on only one of the projects so far, because this is where we want people to do some real-time projects. And in an organizational context, that might not be possible always. But here in one case, right, we were able to ask people to find out your own project, be it a project that you want to do with your community, be it something that you want to do on your own, create your own project, drive it, and then share the experience with other participants. So this is how I have tried implementing it in the workplace.
Lovely. Thank you. Other
Jenny,
questions? Yeah.
Jenny, I have a question. Shanti, you want to ask something,
No,
or
I was
may I go
just
ahead?
nudging people if people had any questions. Go ahead, Shiva.
Oh, okay. No, I was just curious, Jenny. I think these 4 steps are amazing. Thanks for sharing the Indian way of learning. See, this is more we could, kind of implement this anywhere, whether it's a boardroom or, anyways, even the education system, right? So we're all more, the education system is all about, pumping the information, right? They are trying to kind of, making knowledgeable. But, if you look at it, that the current generation kids are not able to get into this stage, especially the, Sakshatkaram, right? Where the real world throws some curveballs, they're not able to kind of, put it into the practice, what they have learned it in a meticulous way. So is there any, I mean, I just want to check it out with you because you have done some research on it. Are there any schools that are education systems that are actually kind of adapting this method of learning or implementing it?
Yeah. Um, as you mentioned, right, the pace at which information is coming to us is very, very fast nowadays.
Yeah.
And our kids are, they're the direct beneficiaries of it. And it is overwhelming, right? It's overwhelming for us. It's definitely overwhelming for them as well. The schools
Mm,
are also able to understand it. And currently, if you look at a number of schools, right, what they have is, along with all these curricular activities, they are focusing on extracurricular activities like science
mm,
conferences, this United Nations, but like I don't know the exact name, but some students United Nations and so on, where coming up with their own ideas, they're practicing it, they're practicing those debates real time, right? And then they are
mm,
able to understand more from that. Schools are organizing TEDx speaker series, and kids are
mm,
the organizers of that, not just the speakers, but they are the organizers of that. So this way, right, they're getting some exposure, they're getting some avenues to implement the skills and learn it from their own experience. And in one of the schools, which I did really loved, is that there is a true inclusion culture as well. So my daughter studies with the Vaidehi School of Excellence. So they have a special school division as well. And they have this policy that I think every week, one day, kids from special school will come and sit with the other kids who are like non-disabled kids. And this is giving them the real-time experience of how to treat a kid with
mm,
disability and how to take care of a kid with disability. And it is also giving a kid with disability, and then instead of them being in a protected environment, they are getting an opportunity to be with other kids and experience the hard realities of life as well. So I think schools are also, I mean, they have also started that work. But then as a society, it
mm,
is on us to make sure that, these efforts are being taken forward. Because, currently there is this scenario, this called pubbing. So you know what the snubbing, right? Snubbing means that, you're talking and then you say, yeah, stop, go away. Nowadays, we are doing pubbing. This snubbing with phone. So a person will be talking to you, but then you will be in your phone. And this happens in our own dining rooms, right? All of us will be having food together, but with our phone,
mm,
watching our own
mm,
favorite videos, our own favorite channels, right? So when this or with this kind of upbringing is happening in the homes, it's very difficult for kids to do something completely different in schools as well. I think it's a responsibility that all of us need to take to be conscious about these different stages and also develop our next generation as well. Be conscious about these stages and encourage them to practice. And for that, I think we need to role model, right? We need to learn, experiment, learn from our failures, talk about our failures, because our kids are afraid of failing, right? Unless and until
right.
we encourage that behavior in them, they won't be able to do that. And I don't think the schools are there yet
Yeah,
with respect
completely
to that.
agree, Jenny. I know the Montessori way of teaching, though it is prevalent only in the kindergarten in most schools, is exactly this. So there is level 1, level 2, level 3, but there is no force fitting that a child the next year has to move to level 2, or before the completion of year 1 they can't move to level 2. There are no such rules. As and when the child is able to do a certain set of things, the child moves on to the next level. Plus the child goes to the school and chooses, if one table is doing math, the other table is doing English, the other table is doing art and craft, the child can choose which table they want to spend their day on. Yeah, or even move tables if they get bored with one activity. I loved that way of teaching, but somewhere our schools aren't equipped for such an education in the higher classes. So the moment they hit first grade, it is about Hindi class, English class, maths class, EVS class, and
I
then
know.
we break that beautiful pattern. So true.
Absolutely.
I had a thing to say that earlier I was in academics. So nowadays, when you talk about students, they are all about attendance and passing the degree or the marks. They, or when you go to higher colleges or institutes, therefore, of course, getting jobs as well, right? So they, of course, not all, but much larger chunk of people, students lack concentrations. They don't have the patience. So, for as you have mentioned over here in Success Karam, we need to provide time for silent reflections, right? Uh, so, introspecting, they don't do that. So, people need to understand. You have to have patience. You have to um, take some time to understand where we went wrong or what we can do to fix the particular problem or issue. So that's there. That's definitely realization or direct experience should be there. And yeah, that's nice concept. I think everyone should practice, and especially we, of course, we at corporate level as well, and of course the students, to better understand, have some discipline as well to work upon.
Lovely.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think not just kids, even we, suffer from those same syndromes, right? Because we are also in back-to-back meetings and sometimes attending multiple meetings at the same time, doing multitasking, thinking that that is actually making us more and more effective. Uh, I think it's very, very important. There was this time during COVID that people used to give a 5 minutes break between the different meetings. Instead of ending it at 10:30, they used to end it at 10:25 to ensure that there is at least this 5 minutes break. But otherwise, we are carrying all that baggage from one meeting to the other meeting and not being able to fully present there, right? So I think these are very, very important things that we need to be mindful about.
Any other comments, thoughts for Jenny? If not, thank you, Jenny. It was a lovely session. Thoroughly enjoyed. And people, if any one of you else wants to volunteer for the March session, please reach out to me one-on-one and would be happy to have that word, and let's see how to make it happen. Yeah. Thank you so much, Jenny. Very, very helpful.
Thank you
Sure.
so
Thank
much,
you.
everyone. Thanks
Wonderful.
a lot,
Thank you.
Shanti, for the
Thank
Thank you
opportunity.
you.
so much.
Thank you.
Thank you
Bye-bye.
so much. Wonderful session, Jenny. Bye bye. Bye, Shanti.
Bye-bye.
You. Bye.